let's move to our next speaker, Juan, who is the CEO and co-founder of Orbital. Juan, are you with us? Let me check. Okay, yeah, Juan with us. Thank you so much, Juan. Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay.
We see you, we hear you, and we see the presentation. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. Very inspiring presentation, Abdullah. I agree with Alex. Future generations in space. So I'm going to talk about how we can use space to improve life on Earth. We are a downstream company called Orbital, and we developed solutions for challenges in the maritime domain using data collected from space, from satellites. So the title of the presentation is Supporting Maritime Emergency Response with Space Data. So this presentation is going to be very, very pragmatic, and I'm going to share with you real cases where we use satellites to help in decision-making in emergency situations. And all the cases I'm going to share with you are real cases where space has been proven to be crucial in answering to this crisis. So the first one is a ship that was attacked and abandoned in the Red Sea. The second one, a fire in an offshore oil rig. And the third one, which is actually very, very trendy, especially in Europe, outages in submarine cables. All of them are critical situations where the scale of the event needs quick data at the scale that the event is happening. And that's where the beauty of satellites shine. So the first case, this oil tanker, the motor vessels Union, was attacked in the Red Sea, was on fire. There were, I think, 14 fires in the deck of a huge oil tanker that was carrying around 150,000 tons of crude oil. So you can understand the situation was very, very critical. All the countries in the region, including Oman, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Eritrea, Egypt, were very worried because it could, if the tanker sinks and breaks apart, it could cause the biggest oil spill in the GCC country's history. So it was a very, very critical mission, and decision makers needed to understand what is the status of the ship. Is the ship leaking oil? In case there's oil in the water, how the oil is going to move? All these kind of questions were burning questions that had to be answered. The second example that I want to share with you is another accident that happened in this case to an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico, in the Mexican part of the Gulf of Mexico. Because of a fire, there was a big oil spill that was produced after the fire, and this spill could be observed and monitored efficiently using satellites in the aftermath of the incident. And then the last one is the outages in undersea cables, which is unfortunately a very, as I said, a very trendy event that is happening quite often. You can see this example that happened here again in the GCC in the southern Red Sea. An undersea cable service was disrupted, impacting several countries, including UAE, if I'm not wrong. So what do decision makers need? They need to understand what is happening. What are the risks involved in the situation? How can we minimize the damage? And sometimes even who is responsible for that? In terms of where these situations are taking place, we're talking about offshore emergencies, so open ocean. And offshore means there are normally remote areas where it's complicated and expensive to deploy aircraft or deploy ships. Weather and maritime traffic and the environment is a context that we have to deal with. for instance, in the event of the big oil tanker, it was a war zone, so it was extremely dangerous to go in there. So, in these critical situations is where using satellites to observe what is happening provides a lot of value. So in order to address all these issues and all these challenges in the maritime domain, we have a product called EOS Viewer. And it's basically a software that provides decision makers crucial information during offshore emergencies. The information provides criteria for action. So what do I need to do in order to be efficient in responding to this emergency? And normally we're talking about very complex and changing environment. So it's not just that we provide information once, we provide information for many days and normally many times per day. And I want to show you some real examples of these operations that we covered, fortunately for clients in the GCC region. This is a satellite image taken over the motor vessel Sunion some days after the attack. So you see that decision makers can understand the situation. There was even a TAC there deployed to remove the ship from the area and to extinguish the fire, a situation that was very, very critical. So taking this image from space in a very critical moment helped them understand, okay, what's the status of the ship and what are the risks involved. The second one is, as I said, a large oil spill that happened in an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. Again, a real example. You can see the spill very, very well here in the original satellite image. And what we do is to characterize the spill, not only detect it, but also information about the volume of oil that is in the water, which is critical. And also the red polygon represent where the oil is more concentrated. So that's where you should deploy your ships and your recovery efforts. And then of course we can, using mathematical models, tell the decision makers how the spill is going to move in the future, in the following hours or days, so you can be prepared in case the oil spill reaches the shoreline. The last example that I want to share with you is a demo of a prototype that we have developed for this very specific case of cable attacks. And for that, we combine satellite communications, so AIS data, automatic identification system, and also dark ship detection or ship detection in satellite images. So as you can see, we can map all the cables that are there in the world using, of course, private or open source data. And what we do is to monitor these cables and provide alerts of any suspicious activity in the surroundings of the cable, which are represented by the red ships, according to criteria that are agreed with, of course, with the end user. So just to finalize, the name of the company is Orbital. The company was founded in 2019 by former Spanish Coast Guard officers. So we come from the problem domain. We don't come from space. We define ourselves problem owners who search for technology to find solutions to the problems that they experience. 30 years of experience working in search and rescue and oil spill monitoring, customs surveillance, maritime surveillance in general, using airborne remote sensing. And then we decided to fly higher and use satellites for this case. What we do is basically we support companies and entities, decision makers in general, using satellite-based intelligence. I would also like to take the opportunity to promote this conference that we are hosting this year in November 2025, 5 and 6 of November here in Valencia. And what we want to do is to gather the maritime experts and the space experts in the same room for 2 days So we think together about the challenges in the maritime domain, especially what's the role of space in solving the challenges of the maritime domain. As you can see, we have some companies of, very known companies of working in the space ecosystem, like Telespazio, ISDESAT, ISAI, Open Cosmos, Airbus. So all of them are going to tell us, explain us how space is going to enable the solution of challenges in the maritime domain. And we will have also coast guards and maritime authorities that will explain us what are their current problems. So for us, it's like a huge, ambitious project to connect those worlds and push the Earth observation market forward. And with that, I would like to thank you all for your attention, and happy to answer questions afterwards.
Thank you so much, Juan. Wonderful presentation.